hard to talk because the covers it.
Right. All right. Welcome everybody into class today. Today we're going to keep working on some hips. I was laughing about it doing some of my teacher training homework. There's infinite poses and only so much time in the class. But we've done a lot of threading the needle, figure 4. I think today maybe we'll switch up, do some sleepy cow, like the cow face, but mostly in reclined. And one of the other, and then maybe do some staff pose and some forward folds, some sitting stuff, and some twists, and hopefully have some time to do a little bit of boat at the end. I also wanted to focus a lot on awareness of where our hips are by going through those 3 different movements, and then also, quickly stretching out the low back and the neck before we get settled into poses. So maybe we'll all be a little taller at the end of class. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Come on to our sides, grab behind the knees, and roll back 1 vertebrae at a time, stretching ourselves out. And like we talked about, right from here, we'll do imprint, arch, and teeter-totter the hips. Bring them left side up, then right side up, left side up, right side up. Oh, we were working on the hip movements. So you want to keep our knees straight up and lift one hip, lift the other hip. One hip, the other hip. That. And then the next movement is we want to put, one butt goes down to the ankle while the other hip lifts up towards the shoulder armpit. Once again, keeping your knees. So now moving on the other plane. So imagine that you're pushing this butt down, this hip up, while keeping our hips parallel to the floor. Now that we got those movements, let's put our elbows down by our sides, hands up. Lift our low back, stretch it away from our pelvis. Bring our hands to the back of our head, gently stretch out our neck and lay it down. And then bring our hands to our sides as we get ready to do our warm-up. So drawing up the right leg, then the left leg, feet and knees together, interlace the hands behind the thighs. Right hand on top of left. Let's start off with some pulsing. And then letting that pulsing go side to side. And start into some circles. Kids in the background. Alright, then bring the legs back to center, do a shin lift, switch the interlace of the hands. So left hand interlace on top of right, bring the legs back down, and circles the other way. And so going side to side. And finishing off with some pulsing again. And feet up, release our hands by our side, and legs come down one at a time. We'll take a couple of big belly breaths. Exhale all the way. And inhale. One more big breath. Now pushing the left foot into the floor, gently draw up the right leg. You can interlace your hands either behind the thigh or on top of the shin. Once again, right hand over left. And even here, we'll take a second, we'll do imprint, arch, imprint, arch, imprint, arch. And here, can you teeter-totter also? So pushing, once again, trying to keep the left knee stable, pushing into the left foot. Lift up the hip on the left side, while pushing down on the left, vice versa. Just coming back and forth. And then the last one, it'll be the butt to the ankle, left side down, right side up towards the shoulder, and then going back and forth. Alright, then we can let that relax. If you have the range, slowly let that left leg come out into wind reliever. And here, can you hold the right leg up under its own strength? Bring your elbows down by your side, hands up. Lift your low back away from your hips. Gently bring your hands to the back of your head and stretch out your neck. Lay it down and bring your hands back over the thigh or shin. Keeping engagement in that left leg, keeping the feet engaged, keeping a little bit of lift in the back of the left knee. And once again, we'll do a couple of big belly breaths here. Exhale. And inhale. Pushing the belly into the thigh, thigh into the belly. With a little extra hip work and movement that we're doing before each pose, are you noticing, are your hips weighted evenly into the floor? Is one side, the left side, or in this instance, the right side, hiked up higher than the other? Can we keep our hips nice and square? One more big breath. Then drawing that left leg back in to a 90-degree angle, we'll cross the right leg over, and this time for sleepy cow rather than, or reclined cow rather than the figure four. Alright, so here once again, do you notice, is your right hip hiking up? Are you weighting more into the left? So once again, imprint, arch, imprint, arch. Do a couple teeter-totters.
Is the left foot in line with the left sit bone on this one? Or in the middle?
Right. I usually just, like, I didn't move the left foot in.
You didn't?
No. Usually you line it up if you're gonna do the twist.
Then you put it in the middle?
Middle, yeah, and move your hips. Alright, then once again here, we'll just put the elbows down, hands up, stretch out the lower back, bring the hands around, stretch out the neck, lay it down gently, and from here we'll draw the legs up, interlacing the hands behind the left thigh, drawing it in, we're lifting the elbows, engaging the elbows, and from here we'll do our ankle set exercises. So point and flex both feet, point and flex. And then going into some circles. Circles the other way. Bring our feet back, we'll flex the foot, curl just the toes, point the foot, flip the toes back, flex the foot, curl the toes, point the foot, flip the toes, curl the, or flex the foot back one more time, curl the toes, point the foot, flip the toes, draw the foot back. And from here, use a little bit of arm strength to draw that legs in closer. And we'll take some big breaths into the belly. Once again, noticing with our back, are we imprinting, are we arching? Is one side of the hip drawn up, hiked up on the left or the right side? Can we keep our hips nice and square and our low back neutral? All right, one more big belly breath. And do a shin lift with that left leg. Release the hands. Keep the cross and let the left leg come down. This time we're going to bring it into the center line. And then pressing into the left foot, we're going to lift our hips up to the right. And then do the twist to the left. Now as we're getting into the twist, we want to remember, we want to try to keep a bit of the muscles of the imprint into the back. We want to make sure that our right ribs aren't popping up, and to do that we're going to push the left side, left back ribs into the floor. Now, if you're like me and your right knee is pretty high off the ground, you can also just bring your left arm in underneath to support the knee to kind of give yourself a bit of limit. And then you can use that to push back into the right hip. Gets really nice stretch into the IT band. Anyway, outside of the hip.
You mean when you push with your right knee into your left hand, like it's the IT band?
I'm using the hand to actually, or with the hand, I can actually feel like I'm pulling, drawing pulling the leg back toward, like the femur back towards the hip, pushing a little bit with that hand. And also remember, try to keep the engagement in the feet like we had them when we were flexed. Alright. And slowly, using our abs and a bit of arm strength, bring those legs back up. Pressing into the left foot, lift up the hips and move them back to center. Draw that right knee towards our chest to release. Bring the thigh parallel and do a couple of shin lifts on this side. And then let the right foot down. And just from here, we'll very relaxed, take some nice big breaths. This time we'll focus on drawing the breath up into the ribs. So we'll engage the belly lock, belly button down, the hips, turn the stomach up under the ribs. Exhale, and you can bring your hands onto your ribs for some sensitivity. Draw the breath up into your ribs. Can you draw the breath into your side ribs, your back ribs? And you keeping the belly lock as you're breathing. All right, one more big breath. And now we'll draw in the left leg, interlacing the fingers either over top of the shin or behind the thigh. Once again, interlacing left hand over top of right this time. And from here, we'll once again do the imprint, arch, imprint, and arch. Teeter-totter. Keeping our knee, right knee, as stable as possible. And then we'll sit right butt into a chair, left butt into a chair, back and forth, in all three directions of the hips. And then we'll slowly extend the right leg. And then from here, just keeping leg strength, we'll bring our elbows to our side, hands up, and lift away from our low back, stretching ourselves out. Slowly bringing the hands gently behind the back of the head, stretching out the neck, laying it down, and then bring it back for the interlace. Make sure that we're keeping engagement in the right foot as well as the left. A little bit of lift into the back knee. And we'll take some big belly breaths on this side. Exhale. And inhale. Belly into thigh, thigh into belly. Two more big breaths on this side. All right, when those breaths are complete, slowly drawing up the right leg and bring the left leg across into reclined cow. And once again, keeping some pressure on our right foot, we'll go through our hip movements. See if we can find ourselves nice and square before we do the rest of the pose. So imprint, arch, imprint, and arch. Teeter-totter a bit from here. And teeter-totter goes wonky on this side. Alright, and then one butt into a chair, other butt into a chair. last one, bringing our elbows by our side, hands up, lifting and stretching our low back away from our hips. Gently bringing our hands behind our head, stretching out our neck, laying it down. Big breath, exhale, and draw the legs up, interlacing behind the right thigh, left hand on top of right. And draw those legs in. And we'll go through the ankle movements on this side once again. So point and flex, point and flex. Going into some circles. Circles the other way. Alright, bringing the feet back to center, reflect, curl the toes, point the foot, flip the toes, flex the foot, curl the toes, point the foot, flip the toes, flex the foot, one more time, curl, point, flip, and flex. Alright, then using a bit of extra hand, arm strength, lifting those elbows up, drawing that leg in close. We'll do a couple of big belly breaths. Two more big breaths. Release the arms, slowly let that right leg come down into the center line. With our arms out to our side, push into the right foot, lift up your hips and move them to the left as we then twist to the right. Once again, we want to make sure that our left ribs aren't sticking out, drawing them in by pushing the back right ribs into the floor. We can also use our right hand as the support under our left knee. And then once you get that, if you can imagine the drawing back action, pulling the hip or the femur into the hip socket, pushing a little bit with that arm. See if you can get a nice stretch on the outside of your left hip. Remembering also to keep the feet engaged like they are when we're flexed. Using ab strength, drawing on using our arms a little bit, bring our legs back to center, pushing into the right foot, lift up our hips, bring them back to center, draw that left leg towards you, bring the thigh perpendicular and do some shin lifts on this side. And then bring the left leg down. We'll once again do this time trying to bring the breath up into our chest, but we'll bring our legs into Baddha Konasana, so bringing feet and knees together, and then letting the knees go wide, clapping the feet together. See if you can get your pinky toes touching as well as your big toe joints. And if you want to, you can bring your hands up to your chest, get some sensitivity for the breathing there. And we'll do the belly lock. Imagine that you're knitting your ribs down and towards your pelvis. Big exhale. And inhale up into the chest. All the work we've been doing with those small hip movements, can you notice your habits? Is your pelvis, your hips even on the floor? Are you weighting into the left side or the right side? Are you imprinting your back or arching your back? Can you try to find it all square and neutral? Keep the belly lock, keep the ribs knitted in as you keep breathing up into the chest. All right, 2 more big breaths. Are you breathing into the back of your chest between your shoulder blades, as well into the front of the chest and the collarbones? All right, let your hands go. Take a couple natural, relaxed breaths. Then using our hands and ab strength, let's draw our knees back together. And from here, we'll roll off to our sides and come up into a seated position. All right, how's everybody feeling about the different actions of the hips? Are you understanding? I mean, maybe a bit new for you there?
Yeah, it's new for me. It's very good.
All right. Right, that's what we've gone over. But anyway, well, so like when we're talking about, right, the keeping the different planes of the hips is pretty cool. But, all right, we're gonna work on.
Can you quickly demo all the different ones while you're sitting there?
Oh, while I'm
You can actually
sitting,
see.
see the stuff. You're right. So let's see, teeter totter. Right, one hip up, one hip down. We're gonna try and keep the hips, and then the other one is this, so you can see the action is in this plane.
That's the button and chair.
Button a chair one, right, and then of course I can show you this imprint, arch, and arch. And I find, yeah, by going through all those and then stretching out my lower back, oh man, I feel taller. So, but anyway, we're gonna keep going now with some staff pose. So once again, bring the legs out. We can bring our hands here by our side, fingertips pointing back. And once again here, we just went over it. So yeah, let's do imprint, arch, imprint, arch. We can do, oh, that's the button chair. We do teeter totter.
It's different when you're doing it sitting up.
Yes. Yeah, you get a little bit more movement in the body now when you're doing it now.
Well,
that you're-
actually, the button chair would more look like this than. Yeah.
But, well, I guess, I mean, right, depends. Anyway, point of view. And then also, with our arms, we can push in, lift up our lower back off of our hips, actually go into a bit of an imprint there, I find, to really lift it up. And relax. Okay, what was I going to do?
Forward fold.
Some forward fold. Oh, no, first we're gonna draw the right leg up, bring it over on the left side, and then interlacing, once again, left hand on top of right, really drawing ourselves up nice and tall. And we're keeping that engagement with the left foot in that flex position, pushing the right foot into the floor, especially trying to keep some weight into the toe mounds and the heel. Can you wade into your big toe mound? There you go. Alright, and then from here we're going to do a few twists, so keeping the left arm where it is, we'll bring the right arm around the back, start to twist to the right. Once again, we don't want our right ribs popping out, so drawing those right ribs in. Now from here, if you have the stability, you can bring your right hand, onto your rear left ribs. And now imagine pushing those ribs into that hand. Or don't imagine it, do it. Remembering the engagement, left foot flexed, right foot pushing into the floor. All that work we've been doing with our hips. You notice you got your hips square and evenly weighted into the floor. The exhale, can you go a little deeper into the twist? And then slowly coming out, bring the head forward first, then the shoulders follow, bring the hand around. Interlacing a nice tall, sitting up nice and tall. And then we'll do the twist the other way. So for myself, I know I have to push with my right hand to keep my knee from going out that way as I twist this way. And in that twist, can remember now this time it's the right rear ribs that have to work. Keeping the left front ribs tucked in. Exhale, can you twist a little bit farther? And then slowly untwisting ourselves, the head first, drawing the body back around. One more tight squeeze. Your hands back, we can lift that left leg up, let it go out. A little shake, we'll just do let's get a seated Baddha Konasana here. Nice, easy, wide diamond. And even here, we can do it. We can do imprint, arch, imprint, arch. Teeter-totter. Oh yeah, this is what, alright, so if you teeter-totter, left side up, can you put just a little bit of pressure on that left knee to get a little extra stretch. Alright, teeter-totter on the right, a little bit on the right knee, not much. Just trying to gain a little extra stretch there. And then bring it forward. And just relax, let your head curve, grab your feet. exhale, using some ab strength, arm strength, drawing ourselves back up, draw our knees back up, legs back out, and we'll drop the left leg, cross it over by the right knee. Once again, keeping the engagement in the right foot, pushing the left foot into the floor, especially the big toe mound. We'll use hand strength. Oh, do we do the teeter totter on this side? Interlace left hand on top of right. Right, and then here we can imprint, arch, imprint, arch, and teeter totter. Oh, I think the teeter totter works better with the hands on the ground. And then one, the other direction, yeah, hips in. Alright, once we got all those, once again use your hands, we can lift up our low back, imprint a little bit, get nice and tall, and then interlace our hands, left hand over right. Draw your belly in nice and tight to the thigh. Now exhale, release the left hand, bring it behind the body, keeping the right hand there. Do a nice twist. Drawing the left front ribs in, pushing the right rear ribs out. If you're stable in this position, you bring that left hand around to the right ribs, pushing the right rear ribs into that left hand. Slowly bringing the head forward, bringing the left arm around, get that interlace again, drawing ourselves up nice and tall. Remembering the engagement of our feet. Now this time, left hand stays, right hand comes around behind the body, and we twist the other way. So it's the opposite this time. Remember to draw the front right ribs in while pushing the left rear ribs out. On exhale, can you twist a little bit farther? Slowly untwisting, bring the head around first, and the arm and the shoulders. Nice big squeeze, drawing ourselves in, lifting ourselves up, making ourselves taller. And we can once again release, letting those legs go out in front. Big stretch. See if you can stretch your toes as you're stretching your leg out. And do a couple point, flex, circles one way, circles the other way. Bring the feet back to center, flex, curl the toes, point, flip, flex. Curl the toes, point, flip, flex. One more time, curl the toes, point, flip, and flex. Alright, big breath, exhale, and then drawing both legs up, feet and knees together, We'll do creeper pose. So keeping your big toes joined together, drawing your heels in as close as you can. You want to get your elbows outside your knees. You can interlace your fingers. You can grab left hand, grab right wrist, or vice versa. I always do the left hand grip to try to get a bit extra strength on my non-dominant side. And from here, once again, we want to remember those engagements of lifting the back up, making a nice neutral back so they're not imprinting or arching. And then you can use your leg strength to push into your elbows, your arm strength to pull back into your legs. And just start taking some nice big full breaths. So full breath, that's 3-part, belly, ribs, and then chest. Then exhaling chest, ribs, and belly. We'll do 5 breaths and then we'll switch our grip. On your own time, like counting your breaths. When you've done the 5, switch your grip. Make sure you're really keeping the engagement of the feet, pushing the big toe mound, pinky edge, and heel into the floor. Alright, once our breaths are complete, draw your knees back together, release your hands, walk the feet out in front of you at a 90-degree angle, and we'll get our heels up, our feet up, pushing the heels into the ground. We'll do a little bit of, get our hands behind our knees, do a little bit of work for boat. So once again, this might be kind of personal depending on your own body. For me, I work at 1 pushing out, hands or legs into hands, arms into legs, and then sometimes I'll switch it up so that the legs are, or arms are pulling out and legs are squeezing in. So even as we're just sitting here now before we actually get into it, work on that push, 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 using a lot of strength. You want to get the heel of your hand just on the kind of side of your leg behind the knee. A lot of strength, pushing, 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 a lot of strength in the arms, pushing back. And then release. We'll get the other one now. So I bring the hands, fingers to the inside a bit more. Pull out with the arms. Squeeze in with the legs. This is the one, this is the tough one. This is the one that I need to work on to get better at boat pose. Alright, now releasing the tension, just kind of keeping your hands there where they're comfortable. We'll do a couple imprint, arch, imprint, arch. So I find for me, when I do the boat pose, I just go into a little bit of imprint, make sure that I really have my abs engaged, my abs are sticking out, then I kind of lost the pose. That's a good tell for everybody. And then lean back slightly, draw your legs up. And then from here, just work on doing a shin lift. You can do one leg at a time. Double leg. Now you can try squeezing the legs together with the arms, legs pushing out. Still breathing, gauging the abs. You can try the other way, grabbing the inside of the leg, pulling apart with the arms and squeezing together with the legs. And whichever one of those gives you the best boat pose, pushing or pulling, then get into it and see if you can get your legs up. Still breathing, still got our abs. Engaging the feet, flexing the feet. And release slowly. Bring our heels down and come right into a nice relaxed cobbler. Maybe stretching first, straightening the back before letting the back and the head curve. Taking in some nice deep breaths to slow down our heart rate. Now an inhale, draw ourselves back up. Bring our knees back together. Do one more round. So feet and knees hip width apart. Drawing ourselves up, leaning back a bit, gently bringing the legs up and right. Try to have some fun with boat pose. Do one smile, bring one leg at a time, the other leg, both legs. You can kind of do some push-up action as you will. Draw them up, see if you can release your hands. And once again, before we come out, play with it a little bit again. And release into a nice Baddha Konasana once again. All right, we got our heads down, no one's looking. We'll do a little bit of jaw release. So see if you can open up your mouth wide, stick your tongue out and try to touch your chin. Lion pose. Bring your tongue back in, you can do some circles with your jaws. Circle the other way. And we can stretch out our tongue a bit. So basically run your tongue over all your teeth, starting at the top, back left. Bring it all the way around to the top right. Going on the outside of the teeth, doing the same thing. Now lower jaw, running along the inside of the teeth, and on the outside of the teeth. Can you get your tongue into the back corners of your mouth where your wisdom teeth are? Do you notice is there tension on one side and the other? We keep tension in our face and our jaw like we do in our hips and many our shoulders and many other places. Alright, when that feels complete, you can sit up. Stretch the legs out one more time. And from here we'll work a little bit on our forward fold. So once again, imagine that we're lifting the back of our knees while we're keeping our feet flexed. We'll take a breath to draw our arms up, and then going slowly into a forward fold, keeping our back straight for now, using our arms to really stretch ourselves out, stretch our back out. And then from here, we can let our arms come down, draw our feet towards us, and cross our arms behind our knees. Now from here, we want to do some really big belly breaths, pushing the belly into the thighs, thighs into the belly, and that should let our ribs and back and chest expand. So as we're doing this, imagine your back is lifting away, your arms are pulling yourself closer. And then we can slowly let those feet go farther away from us as we get into a deeper forward fold. Let the head come down, curve in.
When you say lifting your back away, do you mean like arching almost?
Yeah, we're kind of like more of an imprint.
More of an imprint. Okay.
Right, because you imprint. So, do you remember when we did the towel work a while ago? And you get that sense of pushing your back into the towel. So that's where you imagine that you're lifting. So
Like keeping it straight.
right, I find like you're trying to you almost expand the muscles here and lift into your back. Yes, if you're a bit sore from the forward fold there, just do like the just hug your legs in, and right, just let your back relax from there. Float. And let that settle for a while, and if you're comfortable, then you can also start doing some just double leg shin lifts to kind of get that idea of the forward fold. Alright, if you're doing the forward fold, release your arms, come back up into staff pose. We're going to do one more forward fold this time. We're going to cross the arms the other way. So bring the arms up with a straight back, lifting the backs of your knees, going forward, using your arm strength to stretch your low back out. Once again, getting a bit of an imprint into that low back. Imagine that you're lifting your low back. And then from there, letting your hands come down, drawing your feet up towards you, and cross your arms the other way. I should have noted that before, but maybe you'll remember. And right, you can also, if you can just keep it here if you want, if your low back is bothering you, another way.
Just can't bend for too long.
No, right. Great. So that's a good one there. I suppose we can just let it out. Take a couple of breaths to stretch your big belly breaths into the thighs, letting the ribs and shoulders lift away. lifting into the low back. And then from there, you can let it go, let your head and neck curve. Alright, once that feels complete, you can release your arms, use your arm strength, pull yourself, sit yourself back up. And from here, we'll go into a seated cross leg position. So, once again, remember which leg you're, alright, we'll draw the right leg in first so we're all on the same page. Left leg in front, bring your hands on our knees. And once again, from here, we can imprint, arch, imprint, arch, lifting one hip up and the other way, going forward and backwards. So we find ourselves nice and square, weighted evenly on both hips. Remembering to keep our engagement, flexing the feet. And from here we'll go into a couple easy twists again. So bring the left hand across, right hand behind. And remember to draw the right ribs in, pushing the left rear ribs out. Big breath to lift, exhale to twist a bit farther. And if you have the stability, you can bring that right hand to your rear left ribs. Really pushing those ribs into the hand, get that engagement. One more big breath. And slowly release, bring your head around first, and our arms and our hands. Bring our hands back to our knees. Draw ourselves up with a big breath, and then exhale as we start to twist the other way. Right hand onto left knee. So draw ourselves around, remembering to keep our left ribs plugged in, left front ribs plugged in, pushing into the rear right ribs. Bring that left hand around to the rear right ribs, pushing the ribs into the hand to get that sensitivity, engagement. Taking big breaths to lift ourselves up and then twisting a little bit further on the exhale. One more big breath. And slowly untwist, starting with the head, bring the hands around, bring it back to the knees. Alright, so we're going to take our right hand out to our side and slightly slide over so we got a bit of a lean. And what we want to do is work on this action of the ribs. So ribs in, chain in, out, scrunch it up on this side, lengthen it on this side a bit. And ultimately what we want to do as we get into the stretch is we want to keep the left ribs tucked in, right ribs lifting and expanding. So we don't want to be a C, but we want to keep our So it's nice and straight. And then palm up, left arm extending, draw it up. And from here, remembering our ribs sticking out, can we draw them in? Our ribs sticking out, draw them in. Just do that movement a couple of times. See if you can draw these ribs in and stretch these ribs out. Yeah, once you have it, you can just kind of hold that stretch. It should be nice length on both sides. Can you do it? Draw this one in. There you go. That's yeah. No,
This way?
that way. That way. Yes. There you go. All right. Then for a little shoulder workout, we'll bring that arm back out straight. We'll just start doing some little circles backwards, keeping our hands karate chop, fingers and thumb together. Everybody get your thumbs engaged into your hand. Circles the other way. Remembering these ribs. Lots of things going on. Alright, and then letting that hand come down. Bring ourselves upright. If you're having trouble with, yeah. Can you just sit in a Baddha Konasana while you're doing it, or is that still gonna be a bit much?
No, I think I can't sit for too long. It's just my spine gets off.
Oh, alright. Alright, well, so you can, just kind of relax there for a minute. Alright, so now we'll change the cross of our legs. Left leg in first, right leg in front. Once again, remembering to flex our feet, keeping that engagement. Hands on the knees, take a big breath, we'll draw ourselves up tall. And then bringing the right hand over, we'll twist to the left. Once again, make sure I'm keeping the left ribs in, right rib, back ribs are engaging, so you can bring that left hand to the back to gain more sensitivity for that engagement. Big breaths, lifting our back up, making ourselves nice and tall. On the exhale, go a little deeper into the twist. Exhaling, coming out of the twist slowly, head first. Bring the knees back, hands back to the knees, sitting up nice and tall. Big breath in, and as we exhale, we can twist the other direction. Remembering the engagement of the ribs. Lifting ourselves up nice and tall on the inhale. Twisting a little further on the exhale. We can bring the right hand, back of the right hand to the back of the left ribs. Pushing into those ribs. One more big breath. Slowly coming out of the twist, the head first, drawing the shoulders around. Bring our hands back to our knees. How do you do it? One, dun, dun, dun. Right. Alright, so then bringing the left hand out to the side this time and work on the ribs in and out, just to gain an idea of that movement. Once we got that, now we want to make sure we want to keep the right ribs in, left ribs lifting to get a nice stretch on this side. And bring our hand out, palm up. Bring it up by our ear. Once again here, ribs in, ribs out, ribs in, just to get an idea of that movement. Now getting into the stretch. Alright, bring that right hand down parallel to the floor, squeeze the fingers, thumb together, and start doing some circles. Remembering the engagement of the ribs, keeping these ribs tucked in, not letting them pop out. Circles the other way. Alright, and then release. Bring ourselves back up. Put our hands on our knees. Big breath, sitting up nice and tall. Drawing our knees together, feet and knees together, get our heels close, give ourselves a big hug, stretching out that back. This one, are remembering to engage our feet, pushing them into the floor, engaging those big toe mounds, the pinky side of the toes, the heels. You can tell here, are you weighted evenly into your hips? Are you putting more weight on the left side or the right side? Maybe even a little imprint and arch to see, are you sitting on the front or the backs of your sit bone? Just learning our habits. And from here, release, let the feet go forward and into a nice relaxed Baddha Konasana one more time. Big breath to lengthen out our back. Exhale, let the head curl. And even here, remembering, we're pressing our feet together, the heels, the big toe mound, the pinky edge. And lifting, we're a bit of imprint into the back to stretch it out to let ourselves come farther forward. It's a little counterintuitive, lifting your back lets you come farther forward into the fold. If you have the range, you can go into turtle, bringing your arms underneath your shins. Really letting that back curve, letting the head hang. But even here, can you create a little bit of that dynamic tension? Arms lifting up into the legs, legs pushing down into the arms. Back lifting, let yourself come even a little bit farther forward into this fold. Alright, and relax, drawing your arms out. stay. We're going down, coming onto our sides, or turning onto our sides, hands behind the knees, as we lay ourselves back one vertebrae at a time. Back to where we started. We'll do some imprint, an arch, imprint, an arch, do the teeter-totter, keeping our knees as stable as possible. And then one butt into a chair, other butt into a chair. And bring our hips back to neutral, bring our elbows by our sides, hands up, lift our low back away from our hips, bring our hands around to our head, gently stretch out our neck and lay it back down. Take a couple big breaths and relax. Alright, we're going to do one more kind of boat-ish exercise before we go into Shavasana. So drawing our legs up, feet and knees together, or hip widths apart, bring our heels as close as we can. And then bring our thighs up perpendicular. Do some double leg shin lifts here. And then bring our legs up to hold. Bring our arms out halfway, bring our arms to our side. Pushing with our hands and our elbows and palms of our hands into the floor. And let those legs go out to about a 60-degree angle. So away from you, back into that kind of boat pose angle. Now from here, are you engaging your abs? Are you going to do an imprint or an arch?
And we're supposed to stay neutral.
Yeah, we're trying to keep our back neutral, even though for me, to keep my back neutral, I really have to kind of engage the muscles that I've engaged to imprint, even though I'm not imprinting. Alright, exhale, bring the legs back up to 90. Rachel, can you keep your feet and knees hip width apart? Remember to keep that flex of the feet. Then we'll exhale, and this time we'll go back maybe a little bit past, a little bit farther. It's maybe a 45. Alright, keep that really pushing into our feet, pushing into our heels, into our big toe mounds, keeping your abs engaged, pushing our hands and our elbows into the floor. And drawing the legs back up. And you just let the feet come down and do a double wind reliever, hugging those legs in, letting that low back relax. A little bit of pulsing again. And then we'll go into a nice deserved Shavasana. Bring your feet down one at a time, letting your legs go out, fall wide, your hands by your side. Letting us just integrate this practice. Hopefully we've learned some habits about how we hold our hips. Maybe coming out of this we can have a bit more awareness of keeping our hips square. slowly starting to wake ourselves up from the inside. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, taking some deeper breaths. Draw our hands up overhead, shake out our shoulders, drawing your knees up, and our hands fall down as we roll off to our side. Taking a second on our side to take a breath, relax. Pushing ourselves up into a seated position. Into a cross-leg position. Once again, remembering our habits, switch the cross. Big breath to sit upright. Bring our hands to Namaskar and we'll finish with a group Om. And gratitude to my teacher Michelle for making me do a lot of boat pose. It's been practice, practice, practice. You can do it. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining us.